the Guyker TM85 versus the new Guyker GM85. What are the differences? Regular visitors to the channel will know I recently did a review of the Guyker TM85, which is a tremolo or whammy bar you can fit onto any guitar that's got a tune-o-matic tailpiece. And you don't have to drill any holes or make any modifications, which means it's completely reversible. I'll put a link to that review down below in the description, but if you've already seen that review, here's the final test of the TM85, just as a recap. When I made that original review, the conclusion I came to was that the tremolo bar was really easy to fit and it worked really well as well. And I've had it on the guitar now for a couple of months and I'm still really happy with it. But at the time I made that video, I was already aware that Guyker were updating that particular tremolo system. However, I got a really good deal on it, so that's why I decided to review it. After making that video, I reached out to Guyker to see if they'd sponsor a video by providing me with the new GM85 so I could do a comparison video. And they really kindly agreed. So I had to thank Guyker for that. So obviously, to be completely transparent, the GM85 featured in this video was provided to me by Guyker. But I'm still going to be completely honest, because my viewers and subscribers are far more important than a free tremolo bar. Right, let's get on with it. The unboxing. I'm going to speed up the unboxing so we can get through it more quickly. It arrived in a padded envelope, I'm guessing to keep the weight down because it was shipped internationally by airmail. And inside the padded envelope, the box is wrapped in an extra layer of bubble wrap. The tremolo bar is in the typical Guyker style plastic box, exactly the same as the older TM85 was in. And it's wrapped in a kind of soft tissue paper to keep it from getting scratched. My first impressions are that it looks exactly the same as the old one, except for the introduction of the Guyker logo. Inside the box with the tremolo is a small bag of tools and parts. I'll empty these out now so we can take a look what's in there. Inside the bag are 2 bolts and inserts, 3 Allen keys and a soft pad. The contents of the box is more or less identical to what you'd get with the TM85. However, they haven't included a second spring with this tremolo. Taking a close look, it's really hard to see any differences between this tremolo system and the TM85. So I'm going to have to remove the TM85 from the guitar I fitted it on, just so I can compare them next to each other. But this could be useful because I can use it to show you just how easy it is to remove the TM85. So if you wanted to go back to the guitar being all original, you can. So to remove one of these tremolos, the first thing you have to do is remove the strings. However, because I'm going to put this tremolo back on the guitar, I'm going to leave the strings in place. So I'll put a capo up the neck to hold the strings in place for me. Once the strings are loose enough to allow you to remove the tremolo, you just have to loosen the two bolts that are holding the tremolo in place and then remove it. Obviously, you have to hold the tremolo in place so it doesn't crash down on the guitar, because if it did, it would probably leave a mark. And whilst talking about marks, you'll notice the tremolo hasn't left any marks on the surface of the guitar, and this is because it was fitted correctly. I'll recap how to do this before the end of the video. Putting the two tremolo bars down alongside each other, it's very difficult to see any differences between the two, apart from the obvious new logo. But when I hold the two tremolos in my hand, I can definitely feel differences between the two tremolos. But this is no good for a YouTube video. However, after a really close inspection, I start to see what causes the difference in feel and how they are different. And the first and most obvious of these differences is in the finish of the holes for the string seatings. If you take a look at the string seatings on the old tremolo and then the string seatings on the new tremolo, there's a massive difference. And they seem to have improved the engineering techniques to make the new tremolo system, because it's so much more tidy, it's hard to believe it's the same make tremolo system. Now, to be really honest, these differences are really hard to see with the naked eye, but I'm using magnified photography so you can see clearly what the differences are. Even though this doesn't look like much of a difference, I'd imagine it will extend the life of your strings by a lot, because there's no sharp edges for your strings to rub against. And speaking of sharp edges, I think this is the difference I could feel between the old tremolo and the new tremolo. Every edge and corner is very slightly rounded on the new tremolo system, so the whole tremolo just feels neater and better constructed. This is quite hard to show in the photographs because of the reflective surface of the chrome. Another difference I've noticed is they've removed the washer from between the tremolo bar and the string seating bar. I don't know why that is, but it's definitely not on the new version. Another slight difference that's really not very important at all, but I'll mention it anyway, is the fact on the underside of the tremolo system, the newer version seems to be slightly better engineered than the older system, which is quite rough and badly finished. But in fairness, this part of the tremolo system is never meant to be seen, so it would be pointless to try and put a mirror finish onto it. Just out of curiosity, I've weighed both the old tremolo system and the new tremolo system, and the results were quite surprising. There's only a very small difference in the weight. The old one is 7.7 ounces and the new one is 6.65 ounces. And in grams, the new one was 217 grams and the old one was 218 grams. So the difference in weight is really slight, which is unusual considering the differences in engineering between the two tremolo systems. Right, even though the new tremolo system is better engineered, I'm going to put the old system back onto the guitar I took it off. And that's because I've been very happy with it on that guitar. So, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. You can see why I left the strings in place with the capo. With this tremolo system, you can just hook the strings over when you put it back on and tighten the screws up. You can see on this occasion one of the strings escaped, but that's not a problem. I'll just put that one back in on its own. After a quick tune-up, there you have it, back to the way it was. Now I'm going to take the new GM85 and do a partial installation on a Gibson Les Paul. I'm not going to do a complete installation here. I'm just going to take it far enough that I can show you how to avoid damaging the guitar. So I'm going to try and leave the strings attached to the tailpiece and just move that out of the way. As I did before, I'll put the capo in place up the neck to help keep the strings tidy. Now I need to take the felt pad that was provided with the tremolo system and stick it on directly underneath the spring. And this is an essential step if you want to avoid damaging the guitar. If you're wondering why I'm making a thing of how not to damage the guitar, it's because somebody left a comment under my previous video saying they'd fitted the TM85 and then removed it and it had damaged their guitar. And this can only happen if you fit the tremolo bar wrongly. So I'm going over it again, emphasizing how not to damage your guitar. In the previous video, where I fitted the TM85, I used the provided inserts. However, this time I'm using the inserts that are already in the guitar, because I think doing this wrongly can be the most likely way you can end up damaging the guitar. If the inserts are flush with the body of the guitar, or as they are in this case, slightly recessed into the body of the guitar, then you shouldn't attempt to fit the tremolo bar straight onto these inserts. If you take a look at the provided inserts, they've got a flange on the top of them, and this prevents the inserts from sitting flush on the top of the guitar or sinking into the body of the guitar. So it's almost like you've got a built-in washer. Here you can see the provided inserts that I used on the previous guitar, and you can see that they've got a spacer on them in effect, so that anything attached to the insert won't be touching the body of the guitar. So using the inserts that are already on this guitar, I'll have to replicate this effect using washers. And the washers not only have to be a size that the bolt can pass through, but they don't want to be too big, so they overlap onto the wood. Otherwise, you'll be defeating the point, because as you tighten the bolt down, they'll damage the wood. So you might have to shop about a bit to get the correct size washers, though they're very cheap. And what you're looking for with the washers is that they're thick enough, so when you place the tremolo system on top of the guitar in place, it doesn't touch the guitar anywhere. The reason we have to do this is that the tremolo system is completely flat on the bottom, whereas the guitar is curved. So if you place the tremolo system onto the guitar and tighten it up, the centre of the tremolo system will be pushing against the guitar. And if you tighten the tremolo system down hard enough, you might not only damage the guitar, but also the tremolo system, because you'll bend it in the middle. So to prevent any damage to the guitar or the tremolo system, you need to have a little bit of space between the guitar and the tremolo system. With this particular guitar, I found that one washer wasn't enough to separate the guitar from the tremolo system, so I've had to put two washers on either bolt. Once you're sure that the tremolo system isn't going to touch the body of the guitar, you simply put the bolts back into place and tighten them up and put the strings back on, and you're ready to go. Originally, I wasn't going to fit this tremolo system on this guitar. I was just going to go as far as I needed to demonstrate how to fit the tremolo system safely. However, having gone this far, I've decided to fit it all the way. But unfortunately, I haven't got the correct size bolts to fit the inserts in this guitar. So I've just put the original tailpiece bolts in, which isn't really correct, but it'll do the job for now. So to return to the original question of, is the GM85 any better than the older TM85? And the answer is yes. They've really improved the engineering techniques so that it's finished really nicely. They've stuck to the original design, so there isn't a great difference between the two tremolo systems, but they've engineered and put it together better. Something I really should mention is the fact that the GM85 is available in loads of different colours, as indeed is most of the Guyker hardware now. And I think I can honestly say that this is the most diverse range of colours that any guitar hardware company makes. If you've got the older TM85 and you're thinking, is it worth upgrading? Well, I'll throw that question back at you really, because I've put my old TM85 back on the guitar I had it on because I was perfectly happy with it. But if you've been having issues with the TM85, like breaking strings or such like, then it'd be well worth upgrading to the GM85. Or if you just want to have the best engineered piece of kit on your guitar, then again it's worth upgrading. And that's all I can say about this tremolo really, apart from it's really good value for the quality it is, and it's easy to fit, and if you fit it correctly it's easy to reverse, so you can take it off cleanly as if you'd never had it on in the first place. If you'd like more information about the Guyker GM85, you can find it on their website, which is www.guyker.com. And on the Guyker website you'll also find lots of other cool guitar stuff, as well as the current price of the GM85 and how much it costs to ship to your country. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please take the time to like the video, or if you want to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And hopefully I'll be getting back to lessons again now, because I want to finish book 2 of the fingerstyle guitar course. And if you've not heard of that, take a look on my YouTube channel or go to www.ebooksforguitar.com, and there you'll find the free PDF that accompanies the course, and you'll find the videos in order. And a really genuine thank you very much for those of you who've become channel members, as hopefully that's going to keep the channel going. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now until next time.